Over the years, many games have been released that try to emulate the success of XCOM. XCOM clones are nothing new to my channel, so why am I reviewing this one? Xenonauts was released in July of 2014. It was developed by Godhawk Interactive and relied heavily on independent funding. Now, the aim of this game was not necessarily to remake XCOM, but to reimagine it and do a little bit of improvement to it. So, is this game worth playing? Could this independent take on the XCOM formula work and actually produce a decent game? Like always, let's take a look and we'll analyze the graphics, audio, and of course, the gameplay. And now let's talk about the graphics. Now this game is hard to compare to other games of this year because it's not in the photorealistic style that we're all used to. Instead, it's in this retro cartoony style. While some people have complained about the graphics for many reasons, I honestly don't have a problem with it. It kind of gives a comic book slash cartoony feel to it, and I actually like the new art style. While I do like the hand-drawn aspect, some of these people look weird up close, especially the chicks. It's like they have a case of man face and man body as well. There are a good amount of enemies, so you're always seeing different people as you play the game. The environments are also well done. While they are different themes, you eventually do see the same maps over and over again, so the visual appeal does wear thin after a while. Overall, there's not much else to say. The character models could be a little better given the art style. The environments are pretty good while they do repeat, and the animations are pretty smooth. So overall, I'll give the graphics a 6 out of 10. Like I said, I like the art style, it's pretty unique. However, there were some miscues with the character models as all characters do look the same when you're playing. Now we've moved on to the audio, and honestly the audio department is a bit difficult to analyze, and the reason why is because there's not really that much music. It's a lot of ambiance that is played, especially during the night missions. Now this lack of music can be seen as good or bad depending on your preference. Honestly, I see it as good as it immerses you more into the game. While there is some music, it's not as common as in other games. But honestly, the biggest draw is from the sound effects. The weapons sound very impactful when you shoot them, when they're either projectile weapons, rocket launchers, laser guns, plasma weapons, alien weapons. They all sound very impactful and definitely appropriate for the weapon. Since there aren't any voices, there isn't really a reason to dwell on this section any longer. The audio gets an 8 out of 10. The only real negative with the audio department is the lack of variation within the sounds, but overall it's a well-deserved score. And now my favorite section of any review, the gameplay. Now when you first start a game, you have a choice between 4 difficulties and a couple of extra options as well. You can get tooltips to familiarize yourself with the mechanics, and you can also enable Iron Man mode, which means you cannot save the game during battle. This mode is meant for the hardcore people, so if you really want to be challenged to your limits, put the game on Insane, enable Iron Man mode, and you should be all set. Now just like the original XCOM, the premise is exactly the same. Sometime in the near future, aliens invade, and it's up to you to create a base, create a team, and destroy the alien menace and save Earth. So like always, you have a choice to put, and now since this is a different game, the regions are divided a little differently. You'll have the Soviet Union region, the Indo-China region, the Eastern Europe region, the US, and a few others. Your starting resources are usually always the same. You can go inside and edit the binary files, however, to give yourself more cash and extra stuff as well. Each time you start a new game, your squad is different, so it's good to check out the barracks to see who you have on your army. Now, you'll notice a few notable changes, such as you don't need to buy rifles or any regular weapons. All the regular weapons are provided to you, and there's an infinite supply of them, such as an infinite supply of rifles, shotguns, shotgun shells, sniper rifles, light machine guns, rocket launchers, rockets, grenades, there's an unlimited supply of them, so you don't have to manufacture them or buy them as you did in the previous game. And by previous game, I mean XCOM the original. You'll also notice that each character has their own roles, and depending on their role is their default equipment, such as if you're a sniper, your default equipment will be a sniper rifle. If you're an assault, your default weapon will be a shotgun, so on and so forth. While it doesn't have any direct gameplay effect, it helps sorting through your troops so you know what type of weapons they will have when they approach the battlefield. Now, if you're familiar with XCOM, you already know what this part of the game is. This portion is known as the Genoscape portion. Here is where you manage your base and, most importantly, go to UFOs and send out your squad. Now, let's talk about aerial combat because it is much different than the original and it is a mechanic that needs a lot of explanation. Now, how to intercept UFOs works exactly the same. You just send out your interceptors to the location. And when you attack, you have two choices. You can either auto resolve the battle, which I do most of the time, or you can manually engage the target and control your squad as you take down the UFOs or the UFO. This portion is very confusing at first. I figured out what you're supposed to do. See, what I did is I took off all the weapons because I thought you had to press a button to fire, but no, that's not what you have to do. You have to keep your weapons on as they auto fire when they get in range. Instead, you have to press buttons to dodge, cloak, and all that type of stuff. It's very confusing. I don't recommend doing this. I just recommend going into auto resolve and just fixing it there.